Excel has well over 400 functions, and so many different people use Excel in so many different ways. It's hard to come up with a list of what functions do I need. But I do want to alert you to some of the functions that might be used if you're using a list, and I think they're commonly used regardless of the kind of data you're working with. We might want to know what the highest salary here, and we might not want to sort the data. So I've set up some words over here on the right-hand side. Here's the word highest. What's the highest salary here? Now here we could either take advantage of the auto sum button, which has a max option in it, or simply type equal max. It's almost as fast here. But I do want to point out that when you're working with certain kinds of data, if you know, for example, that there's nothing else in column F, we can simply click column F here. What we're about to do here is to calculate the highest salary in column F. Simply press enter, and we see it there. Now, if you do later put totals at the bottom, or if you introduce interim total, subtotal, something like that, this, of course, is not going to work. And surely, if you know max, you probably would figure out pretty quickly that lowest would be min. Again, recognizing you can get to these by way of auto sum, so we could click the auto sum button here, choose min, ignore what auto sum is trying to do, and simply click column F. Median isn't found on the AutoSum drop button, so you'll have to find it. How do you know that median even exists? Well, I think if you're familiar with statistics, would probably guess that, but you don't always have that instinct. But if you type equal and then the letter M, you do see a list here of all the functions beginning with M, and sure enough, there's median. While you're at it, you might view some of the others and wonder what this one or that one might mean, and here and there you are alerted to other functions just by seeing their names. We could choose median this way and then simply press tab to pop it into place. And if we want a median salary here, once again, if we're looking at column F, we'll simply click column F. Noticing that we do not have to type the final parentheses in situations like this. If there's only a single set, we'll just press enter. And a small little shortcut tip here, if you want the active cell to stay in place, you can press Control Enter. But if we want to move downward, and that's what we want to do, we'll just press enter. Now, second largest, is that going to be some variation on max? This is one of those functions which I think some people might need, others not. It all depends upon what you're trying to do. But let's say, once again, we want to calculate this or figure out what the result is, not by sorting the data. And surely we can imagine situations where we're looking at thousands and thousands of cells here. So I want to bring out the idea that here and there's a function. You wouldn't necessarily guess the name of this. It's called large, and there it is right there. Returns, and the notation they use, returns the kth largest value in a data set, for example, the fifth largest number. So there's large. We could, again, type it or tab it into place. We're looking at the data in column F, comma, if we want the second highest entry, put in a 2. It doesn't tell us where it is. We know it's within column F, but it tells us what it is. So it's the entry right here, that one. And sure enough, 3 for the third highest, 4 for the fourth highest, and so on. And its opposite is small, as you would guess. Now, STD, what's that? Well, I'm thinking of standard deviation. What if you're a little bit knowledgeable about that concept, but you're not quite sure what Excel has? One approach could be, we could go to the Formulas tab here. We can start looking at the various categories here. Oddly enough, the category that we're looking for, you might not see at first. If you click the arrow for more functions, I'm thinking of statistical. There are quite a few statistical functions. If we're looking for standard deviation, well, let's hope it begins with S. But what do we see as we drag down here? Looks like there are quite a few of these, and each one has a different pop-up definition. Now, I'm not going to go into a discussion of these because I'm not an expert on standard deviation, but there are certainly some options here, and one of them is probably the one that you wanted, and you'll just have to make your choice, make your guess, the one that fits your needs most obviously. Maybe it's this one. And here too, like the other examples we're seeing, we'll choose a particular location. Let's say, once again, we're concerned with the salaries. We'll just use column F here, and that's all we need to do here. And if you've worked with standard deviation, you'll have a sense as to what that number means. But there's so many functions, and let's say you're just not out there constantly looking for new ones, but based on how you use Excel or what it is you're trying to get at, those functions, like the ones we've seen prior to this and this one, remind us of the tremendous capability of Excel in handling formulas and numeric data.